Okay, so chapter 1, lesson 6. This is solving proportions. Now, we've talked about proportions for, gosh, a week, probably at least. What is a proportion again? Do you remember? What's a proportion again? Come on, people. What's a proportion? Yeah, Kaylee. Okay, when two things are equivalent, how is that different than a fraction? What do we talk about? How is that different from a fraction? Do you remember? What is a fraction? Part of a whole, okay? And a ratio is comparing two different things, like miles and hours, or like pizzas and the cost. Remember? Okay. So we're going to go back to proportions today. Now, what were the 3 ways you can tell if something's in proportion? Give me one. Divide. Give me another. Cross products. Give me another. Reduce, and I think there's probably one more that I'm forgetting. Divide, we said that. Oh, multiply. Multiply and divide can kind of go together. Okay, so those are the 3 ways. All right, so we are going to focus on a lot on the cross products today. Okay, so that's what we're going to focus on. We might do a little multiplying and dividing, but most of the time we're going to focus on these cross products. Okay, so make sure you get something like this written down. You probably don't need to write this. If you started, that's fine, but you already kind of know what cross products are, remember? This times this is 18, 2 times 9 is 18. We know these are in proportion, right? Okay. And that's an example of there's something that's not in proportion. Okay, remember we kind of talked about this too the other day where we said, okay, well, we know 2 times 8 is 16. We know 4 times 3 is 12. So that is an example of something not being in proportion. And we're going to use cross products to figure out a missing number today in that proportion. So one of those numbers is going to be missing, and it's our job to figure out what that missing number is. Yeah, you're going to be something is going to be missing today in your 2 proportions or your proportion. Your job is to find that number. Let's see. Okay. Now I'm going to add in a page here because I'm going to. Can I go to the next page? Are you guys good? Okay, I'll wait. Remember what this means? You can put that. That means not equal. All right. Can I go to the next one? Can I add a page quick? You guys good with that? All right, so let's go back to what we started with when we started talking about proportions. We talked about pizza and the cost, right? Remember? It was pizza, or what was on top? Cost? I think cost was on top. And then pizza was on the bottom, right? I think it was $6 for every pizza, right? All right. No, I'm just going to show you. So $6 for every pizza. Now, if I have 4 pizzas, how can I figure out how much it costs? What's one thing I could do, Cadence? Okay, so I know 1 times 4 is 4, 6 times 4, what should that be then? And that's exactly what you're doing today. It was basically like this. Does that look familiar from your homework yesterday? Okay, so one way Cadence said, well, I know 1 times 4 is 4, so 6 times 4 is 24. Guess what's another thing you could do? Yep. Okay, so I know 4 times 6 is 24. So I know this times 1 needs to be, so what does that question mark have to be? 24. That's another way. Okay? So those are pretty much the 2 main ways you can use today. Not every way, not everyone's going to work the way Caitlin said, well, I know 1 times 4 is this, so 6 times 4. Not every way is going to work that way, because watch this. What if I have, let's say I don't have this in my table. And let's say I have, and I want to know what this one is. And I know this is in proportion. So this is what it looks like now. Is Cadence way going to work this time? No. So I have to use Zane's way. What was Zane's way again? I'm going to multiply these two, right? So 24 times 3 is 72. So I know this times this has to equal what? 72. Now an easy way I can figure that out is I can take 24 times 3 and then divide by 4, because that's going to tell me what I'm missing up there. So I don't know, what's 72 divided by 4? I get 1, I get 3. Guess what my question mark is? 18. Okay. Is this making a little more sense now? Okay, so let's do some practice, shall we? We kind of talked about that already. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about today. These are some examples. So let's write this one down in your notebook, and we'll do it together. It's kind of like it was in a table. They took it out of the table because you're missing something. They set it equal to 1 of the things in the table, and they want to find what this is right here. Anytime you have a variable in that spot, that's the spot I'm looking for. It's like where my question mark would be. So to figure this out, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I have to know what, if I cross multiply, I have to know what that's going to be, yeah. Yep, so first let's do 8 times 14. 8 times 14, see, I get 2, carry the 3, 8, 9, 10, 11. 112. So that tells me then that t times 4, what does that need to equal? So this needs to equal 112. Does that make sense so far to everybody? Okay. Now to figure this out, to solve this problem, what am I going to do? Jacob. Yeah, I'm going to take that 112 divided by 4, and that's going to tell me what that t is. Let's see, I get 2, I get 8, I get 32. Guess what my t equals? 28. Now, what's a way I could check myself? If I said, okay, I know 28 over 8 equals 14 over 4, how do I know these are in proportion, Zane? I could cross products, or this one I could easily reduce. Because if I reduce 28 by 2, guess what it reduces to? 14 over 4. Or if I would reduce them all down to the bottom, let's see, it would be 7 over 2. Both of them will be 7 over 2. Anybody have a question? Kaylee? You can. It doesn't bother me if you don't do that, because I know you're looking for t. Some teachers it might be different, but to me, that doesn't matter to me. Okay. Let's do this one. Let's do this one. This one, look at this one. So I have 10 over 5 equals d over 15. Now, Cadence's way could work here. Zane's way is always going to work. That cross multiplying, that cross product stuff is always going to work. But guess what? This one works Cadence's way. What times 5 gives me 15? So what's 10 times 3? So d equals 30. If I would do it Zane's way, let's see, I know 10 times 15 is 150. So 5 times d is 150. I divide by 5. Guess what d still equals? 30. That way, though, that Cadence talked about, I know 5 times 3, it's not always going to work. Because sometimes you're not going to have a very good number. I guess this one could have worked. We could have divided this one. Look at 8 divided by 2 is 4. What divided by 2 is 14? We had 28. That one would have worked that way, too. But not everyone is going to work like that. Cross, if you find a way, if you say, oh, I can't multiply or divide here, cross products will always work every single time. Questions? Cadence. Sure. Can you go this way? Sure. That's the same thing as dividing, because if I take 8 divided by 2, I get 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Yep, that would work too. Definitely. Oh. Better now? We feeling a little better? Okay, now I'm going to show you in a little bit. I might give you a few more to try on your own. No, this is perfect. I'm going to show you how to set up proportions from a story problem because I know you had some story problems in your homework, right? Okay, so let me explain how to set up a proportion in a story problem. Remember, let's go back to the first day we talked about rates. Remember rates when we were comparing two things? Remember that? Okay, so we have to remember what we learned there to apply it to here. Okay? So if I say in 1991, an income for a typical 8-acre cotton farm was $3,040. Do you see a rate already? What's your rate? What am I comparing? $3,040, right? So first you're going to write that in a rate. 8 acres over $3,040. Okay, we have our one rate. You're always, always, always going to be given a rate. Every single time you're going to be giving some sort of rate. And what I want you to do, you have to label. It's so important to label everything in that proportion. And I'll tell you why next. Okay, so I know, and then I'm going to have an equal sign, because that's how proportions are. And then my next sentence says this. What was the income for a 13-acre cotton farm? What do I know now, Jasmine? Okay, so I know 13 acres, but now I'm missing the dollar amount, right? So on my other side of my proportion, I can fill in one of those spots. And the reason why it's really, really important to label is because I need to put the exact same label directly across from this. So what needs to go here? 13 acres. Do I know how much money? So I can either make that your question mark or your variable or whatever you want. I'm going to use A because I like the first letter of my name. So you can use whatever letter you want. It does not matter to me. Now, can I solve this proportion? Sure. This one might take me a little time, but that's okay. So let's see. 3,040 times 13. Let's all do it. Let's get our minds back into math. I hope you're doing it because I want you to let me know if I'm not doing something correctly. Is that what you got? Okay, so I know that 8 times A needs to equal 39,520. Do you need me to slow down a little bit for you? I'll be happy to slow down a little bit. Okay, so now it's my next step. I need to find out what that A is. So I need to divide 39,520 divided by 8. All right, let's do that. I'll move this up a little bit. Okay. 3, 9. I don't know how good this is going to come out. It's good? Oh my gosh, that never happens to me. Let's see. 4 minus 32. 9, 7, 5. 9, 7, 2 equals 32. That is perfect. That is perfect. So I know 13 acres is $4,940, which makes sense because if I look at it, should it automatically be higher than 8 acres? Well, yeah. And if I would double 8 acres, I would have 16, so that would be $6,000, so it's less than that. So I think that's very close. That's the easy way to check your answer. How are we doing so far? So far, so good? All right, let's try another. I hope I have another one. I didn't get a chance to look at my slideshow this morning before I got here. Merritt, can I move on? Okay. All right, let's try this one. You guys want an example in your notebook, like a story problem example? If you did the other one, you did the other one already? Okay, if you need a story problem example, let's at least get one in there. Let me see if I got another one here. I do have another one, but that's okay. Let's do this one. Let's do this one. Nope, that's perfect. Yep. So if a 150-ton blue whale can eat 8 tons of food a day, how many tons of food can a 130-ton whale eat? If you want to go ahead and try to solve, you can go ahead and try to solve. Cadence? Nope, absolutely does not matter. The only thing that does is to make sure you have the same thing directly across on the other side. Does not matter. Nope, like in the last one we could have had money on top and acres on the bottom. It does not matter. Yep, so the first sentence already gives you that rate. And most of the time when you have a story problem, that's what's going to happen. That first sentence is going to give you that rate right off the bat. So you have something you can get written down. So my rate here would be 150 tons blue whale over the 8-ton food. And then, let's see, how many tons of food? So I know I'm not going to have this. Can a 130-ton blue whale eat? And I honestly don't know. I don't think this is probably going to come out great. Does it? Yeah, it's going to come out like terrible. Round to the nearest whole number. How's that? How's that? So I'm going to take, let's see, 130 times 8, 0, 4, carry the 2, I get this. So I know that 150 times my question mark needs to equal this. Then I need to divide. And it's not going to come out very well, like, at all. It's going to come out like 6 times. 150 times 6. 7 times? 150 times 6 is 0, 0, 3. I get 900. And if I would have added it again, it would have been 13, 10, 50. Yeah, so it would have been just over. So minus 900. And you should get 0, 4. 140? See decimal, and then I think it's like 6.9. You can stop there. That's fine. You don't have to go any farther. Most of the time today, or I guess I'll wait to say that. I'm not quite sure. I have one more story problem for you. That is it, because it's a little different than these. It's a little different than these. Well, take 150 times 9. Let's see, I get 0, 5, carry the 4, I get 1350, and that's, yeah. Yeah. So this person, or this whale, eats 8.6 or 6.9 ton of food. That's a lot of food. Okay, last one I have for you. The ratio of girls to boys is 2 to 3. Okay, so what does that mean? What does a ratio 2 to 3 mean? So for every 2 girls, there's how many boys? 3 boys. Okay? So how many students are we totally talking about up there? Don't even look at, yeah, we're talking about 5 kids, right? Because if I had a group of 5, because 2 plus 3 is 5. So if I have 5 students and 2 are girls, how many are going to be boys? 3, right? Okay. If there are 25 students in the class, how many are boys? I have a ratio of 2 to 3. There are 25 students in the class. How many are boys? Do you want me to draw a picture? Should we draw a picture? So we know in a group of 5 students, right? 2 are girls, and how many are boys? 3, right? How many students is that? 5. So let's do another group of 5. Yep. Sure. All right, so let's add another group of 5. How many students is this now? 15. 15. Let's add another group. How many students is this now? Let's add another group. How many students is this now? 25, and I want to know how many boys there are, right? So let's count that up. 15 boys, so then how many girls are there going to be? 10 girls. Let me show you an easier way to figure this out. Let me show you an easier way instead of making a picture. Okay? So we know in one group there's how many kids? 5. So let's take 25 divided by 5. And what do we get? 5. So in that group of 5, wait. I'm thinking about this right? Yes. Yes. Okay. So we know there's 5 students in each group, right? So let's go back to this. And let's take 5 times 2. Let's take 5 times 3. That's going to tell you right then and there how many girls and how many boys there are. Yep. That's exactly what you did. Nice job. Nice work. I don't know if you're going to see any of these today, but I just wanted to do one of these because I know it comes up sometime. There was one on the assignment. That's why I have this up there.